Hey scholars, now we're going to hit the mother lode. This is the really tough area. This is where we have to ultimately show the reconciliation between those governmental funds / the Internal Service Fund and the government-wide. And remember, we have our little memory tool, can CPAs ride or sit? Those are the areas that we're looking at to make adjustments, and we want to make sure we feel very, very comfortable with this. So let's begin, let's work it out together, take our time. Understand this is a real challenging area, one of the hardest ones. So hopefully those little letters help remind you of the areas that are part of the reconciliation. So let's begin. So the preparation and reconciliation of the government-wide financial statements, what we're going to look at is this is a challenging area. We want to make sure we have a fundamental understanding of how it's done, and we're going to take a look at it. Now, we have a little mnemonic that helps you understand how to do it, and it's called Can CPAs Ride or Sit? And what's important to understand with this particular item is that when you're doing this particular item, you want to be aware of how the work is done. And first of all, when we actually do the can, C-A-N, that is involved in the net position. That's why it's up there with the area of the balance sheet. CPAs, ride or sit, affect both the balance sheet and the statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. So that's why we have the can first. It'll only be used in one of the two reconciliations. Everything else is used in both of the reconciliations. So that's the starting point of how we're going to do this. When we look at this focus, remember, under governmental fund accounting, they use the current measurement focus, and that's different. They don't carry fixed assets, they expenditure them, they don't carry long-term debts, they consider it other financial sources. So we have to look at the balance sheet, which of course they have assets, only current, liabilities, only current, and fund balance. We have to look at the statement of revenue. Notice the term expenditures and changes in fund balance. We have to look at items. So the very first thing we're going to look at there is capital outlays, and we're going to sit there and factor that back in. Principal payments, they expenditured them, just like they had capital outlays. So we have to factor those back in. Asset disposals, they just treated it as other financial sources. And therefore, we have the sources of funds, such as borrowing of money. There's the CPAs. So we have that process also being done in this area. Then, of course, we have to go on to the next area. And then we look at what we'll call the CPAs ride or sit. We look at accrued revenue. It was measurable but not available. So something that was billed, it was earned this period, but it may not be collected for 3 or 4 months into the future. Well, then we don't consider it available. Therefore, we don't report it. Well, now for full accrual accounting, of course, we do. We accrue interest on unmatured items. And of course, depreciation expense has to be factored in. And then after we do the ride, we also have to factor in that we add in the internal service fund. So we take the GRASP funds plus the internal service fund. So we're going to take that internal service fund, that net position in it, and we're going to bring that in to the reconciliation. Those are the items that are factored in here and must be accounted for in the reconciliation of the funds to the government-wide financial. And with that, the best way to learn this and reinforce it is to do a full-blown exercise. So good luck.